The following program is sponsored by Avery Wealth, Lower Mid-Michigan's retirement planning specialists.
Welcome to Retiring Well, where it's our job to help you enjoy financial security in any economy. Well, we have a terrific show lined up for you this week. We are talking about a shocking new study that's coming out of Morningstar about how much income you can safely withdraw from your retirement portfolio. Super important information. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show.
Retiring Well with Michael Reese, providing financial security in any economy. Today is the day you can take control of your financial future and eliminate worry about your money forever. Retiring Well with certified financial planner and retirement planning expert Michael Reese.
I told you that today we are talking about a shocking Morningstar study that's just come out that talks about how much you can safely withdraw from your retirement portfolio and have confidence that you're not going to run out of money. This is really important. I have it right here in my hands. This is a 16-page report, and it is written by, here are the authors, David Blanchett. He is a CFA, CFP. He is the head of retirement research at Morningstar Investment Management. Also, two co-authors, Michael Fink, he's a PhD and certified financial planner. He is a professor and the coordinator of the Department of Financial Planning at Texas Tech University. And then we have Wade Pfau, I think I pronounced his name, P-F-A-U. Now, Wade is also a PhD, a CFA. He is the professor of retirement income at the American College. Now, Wade has been in the Journal of Financial Planning many times when it comes to retirement income over the past couple of years. Anyway, they've written this article. What they did is they did a fresh study, and what they were trying to identify is how much can you withdraw from your retirement portfolio. There's been a big debate about this. You know, the old rule is simply this. It's known as the 4% rule. And the way it works is you put roughly half your money in stocks and half your money in bonds, roughly, give or take, and then you just withdraw 4%. If you do that, historically, the studies say that you should have about a 90% chance that your money will last for a 30-year retirement. You do have to plan for 30 years these days because of longevity. Well, the guys at Morningstar, you know, these three authors got together. They said, let's do a fresh study because, you know, in the 2000s, the people following that 4% rule have been getting killed. Let's do a fresh study and ask the question, is 4% really the right number? And I'm just going to, you know, this is 16 pages of you know, real heavy mathematics. But what I like about studies like this is they always give us what they call an executive summary, where they simply tell us, all right, in English, here's what we found out. And here's what they said. They said, you know, using this model, this idea of roughly half the money in stocks, half in bonds, you know, and making withdrawals, they said, using this model, we find a significant reduction in safe initial withdrawal rates. They said with a 4% withdrawal rate, about half of the time people are running out of money. In other words, if you have roughly half your money in stocks and half in bonds and you take 4% per year starting out for your retirement, let's say you've got $1 million saved and you pull out $40,000 a year for your income in retirement. These guys are telling you, you know what? Flip a coin. If the coin comes up heads, good news, your money will last for 30 years. If it comes up tails, you're going to run out of money before you die. That's what they're saying, 50-50. So clearly that's not a safe withdrawal rate. And they said, actually, if you want to have a 90%, so this isn't even 100%, if you want a 90% chance of your money lasting for 30 years, I mean, you still have a 10% chance it's going to blow up on you, which isn't terrible, I guess. But if you want a 90% probability of your money lasting for 30 years in retirement, the best thing to do, they say, is put 40% of your money in stocks, and you can only pull out 2.8% per year. If you got $1 million, they're saying all you can pull out is 28 grand. Now, think about that for a minute. You can pull out 28 grand? I mean, holy cow. I'll tell you, I got an idea for you. How about this? Take your $1 million, put it underneath your mattress, and pull out $28,000 a year. It'll last for 30 years guaranteed. Here they're saying if you put it in a 40% stocks and 60% bonds, it's going to last 30 years 90% of the time. In other words, under the mattress probably works better. You know, what's interesting here is this. They are asking the question, what if you only use just one manufacturer of financial tools? You know, you can get financial tools from the banks, from insurance companies, and from brokerage houses. You know what they're doing in this study? They're saying, forget about banks and insurance companies. Let's say that you have all your money in just one of those places, brokerage houses. And they're saying, if that's all you do, so if all of your money, as you're watching me, if all of your money is in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, that kind of stuff, if that's where you have all your money, you can only expect to withdraw 2.8% per year and have your money last. Now, why is it? Why is it such a low number? You know, they talk about on page, I think it's page 5 here. Let me see if I can get to this real quickly for you. But on page 5, they actually talk about something called return sequence. And on page 6, they have this chart right here. And it's kind of small here. The guys will bring it up behind me in a little bit bigger form. But it's basically a chart that says, hey, if you retired in December 31st, 1971, let's say you just wanted to pull 5% out of your portfolio. And they tracked what actually happened in the markets after that. If you tried to pull 5% out of your portfolio, you would have been out of money in about 20-some years. But, now this is interesting. If during that exact same time period they took the returns and flipped them around, then, 20-some years later, not only would you have had all your income, you would have had about 50% more money at the end. Why? Because the order in which those returns come are vital when you're trying to create income from a brokerage type of account. Now, what's really interesting here is that if you take all manufacturers, we do this in the office all the time, and every of the retirement planning specialists I work with do it all the time. If you combine brokerage accounts, plus insurance accounts, plus bank accounts in your retirement, you can take 4-5% a year income and have it be safe, secure, predictable, and have it work 100% of the time, no matter what the markets do. So, what do you want to do? Roll the dice with the brokerage accounts and pray? Or do you want to have a more comprehensive approach to your income so that you have a stable and predictable retirement income no matter what the markets do? I think the answer there is pretty obvious. All right, coming up, we're going to talk to these retirement planning specialists. We're going to talk to one in your area where we can learn a little bit more about what they're doing to protect client assets regardless of market performance.
Let's talk about safe places for money that earn a decent return. You want your money to be safe. That makes a lot of sense in today's unsettled economy. But everywhere you look, you can't find a place that pays you a reasonable amount of interest. It's frustrating. That's where we come in.
Safe places for your money that earn a decent return are available if you know where to look. We evaluate them every day.
It's one more reason that now, more than ever, you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement.
Hi folks, Michael Reese here. I'm standing here with my younger brother Dan, and if you're in the lower mid-Michigan area, I'm telling you what, you should count yourself lucky because Dan is part of your community. You know, a lot of you may not know this about him, but he and I, we get the chance to talk all the time about retirement planning. Heck, he's probably shared more ideas with me than I've shared with him. You know, Dan, do you mind taking a moment and sharing with the folks what you do at Avery Wealth?
Sure, Mike. As a certified financial planner, we really focus on customized solutions for retirees. Many things change when you get to those retirement years, including how to position your investments, as well as things like health care, estate planning, and taxes. So we put together custom solutions to help out retirees have a successful, enjoyable retirement.
Yeah, folks, if you are in the lower mid-Michigan area and you have at least $250,000 saved for your retirement, I encourage you, call the number on the screen, talk to my younger brother Dan.
Let's talk about a customized retirement plan. Retiring today is not what it used to be. What works for your neighbor may not be best for you. Yet everywhere you turn, it seems like financial firms are giving cookie-cutter advice.
We believe that your retirement plan should be customized for your unique situation. We build a plan to fit you versus trying to squeeze you into a pre-built model.
It's one more reason that now, more than ever, you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement. And now, Ask the Expert, featuring financial advisor Dan Reese.
Well, I'm standing here with Dan Reese, retirement planning specialist and founder of Avery Wealth in the Lansing and Jackson area. You got a couple of offices down there. So, Dan, this week we're talking about this groundbreaking Morningstar study. It says you can only withdraw 2.8% of your portfolio and have confidence that your money's going to last for 30 years. I got to ask you, when you hear about that study, when you've read the study, what was your initial reaction?
Yeah, Mike. I mean, to be honest, the first thing that came to me was a little bit scared when you think of all the retirees out there that have based their retirement plans on 4 to 5% withdrawals out of those, quote, balanced portfolios. And, you know, three main things when I read that report were pretty shocking to me. First of all, every financial planner, I'm a certified financial planner, has heard the same thing through the years. If you build the portfolio right, in a balanced nature with about half the money in the market and about half the money in a structured fixed income portfolio, you shouldn't have any issue pulling 4 to 5% out of that portfolio for 25 to 30 years. Things should be good. Now, when you read the report and you quickly realize that that number now is about 2.8%, is shocking. And the truth is that most of us are aware of this low interest rate environment that we've been in for the last several years. And now it's really beginning to take its toll on those bonds or the fixed income parts of the portfolio and making those numbers go from that 4 to 5% down to that roughly 2.8 to 3% for a safe withdrawal rate. The second thing that really hit me was the fact that the risk in the bond market right now. And most people have heard the saying that bonds are inversely related to interest rate movements, meaning that if interest rates come down, bond values tend to go up. And if interest rates go up, bond values tend to go down. Well, what we know is that interest rates have been falling substantially over the past 20 to 30 years, and what that has done is pushed up those bond values, which has helped that fixed income side of the portfolio provide stability. Well, now where are we at? We're at the bottom as far as interest rates can go. They really can't go any lower. And so sooner or later, as those start to come up, they are going to have major effects on the values of those bonds in the fixed income part of the portfolio. You know, as we know, the fixed income side of the portfolio is for safety. That's primarily where that income comes from in retirement. And so that's a huge risk out there. And what we saw even in 2008, you know, bond portfolios can go down 10 to 15% if you have the right circumstances, like a rising interest rate or bad market. So those are things to be aware of. And the third thing that really was an eye-opener to me was the fact that these numbers didn't really change based on how much stock versus fixed income you had in your portfolio. Meaning that if you had 20%, 40% stock, 60% stock, or 80%, the numbers really didn't change that much. So when you put that all together, you know, it really was an eye-opener for me, Mike.
So then I have to ask you, Dan, what are you doing for your clients in the Lansing-Jackson area to help protect their income so that they can have a stable and reliable income regardless of what the markets do or what the economy does?
You know, Mike, that's a great follow-up question. And the truth is we're taking a hard look at all of the fixed income positions in the portfolio. Luckily, we're still in a position where we can make some adjustments to those to really put the family in a much better position long-term for retirement. And some of the things that we're looking at is everything in the marketplace, to be honest. We're looking at products offered by banks, products offered by insurance companies, and products in the typical stock and bond markets to see what makes the most sense in the current environment that we're in. You know, the goal overall is to raise that withdrawal rate, to get it back up to that 4 to 5% withdrawal rate so that people can really have that enjoyable retirement that they work so hard for. There isn't any simple answer. Everybody's a little bit different when you look at their holdings. And so, like we always say, the first thing is to identify what you have today and then what adjustments can be made to put you in a much better position to have success into.
Wow, Dan, that was really good information. Now, I'm sure that our viewers in the Lansing-Jackson area are probably sitting back on their couches and chairs, and they're probably starting to think to themselves that they would like to sit down with you and have you double check some of their retirement planning. If for those people that live in, if you will, the Lansing-Jackson area and they want to visit with you, are you willing to sit down with them face to face? And if so, under what circumstances?
Yeah, Mike, if you're an investor or family out there that has legitimate concerns about how your portfolio is positioned currently, for retirement and whether you have some of these risks that we're talking about, give the phone number a call within the next 15 minutes and we'll sit down with you for an hour or so free of charge to answer those questions and see if we can point you in the right direction.
That is a terrific offer. So folks, you heard Dan. If you call in the next 15 minutes and the number on the screen, he is willing to waive his initial consultation fee. If I were you, I'd be calling that number right now. Now I want to shift gears here a little bit. We actually got a question that was sent in from someone in the Lansing area, and the question is from Chris from Holt. And the question was about annuities. Chris, I'm not sure if it's a guy or a gal, was asking the question. They were saying, that they're looking at using annuities for their retirement income planning, but they aren't really sure if it's a good idea or a bad idea. And, they're really kind of up in the air. They're asking, are annuities really good for retirement or not? Dan, since they're writing in from your neck of the woods, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
Well, Chris, that's a great question, and I'm sure you're not the only one out there in our viewership that's wondering about annuities, because you hear a ton about them today in the media, and some good, some bad. Well, the truth is, let's take some time and talk about what an annuity is, and also maybe some of the different kinds of annuities that are out there so that you can understand a little bit about what they are. First of all, an annuity is offered by an insurance company. Many people know that, but some don't. And the other thing is that there's many different types of annuities that exist. Now, back long ago, people thought of annuity as you got to retirement and you gave an insurance company a big chunk of money and then they guaranteed an income stream for as long as you lived. And that was called an immediate annuity, and it worked much like a pension. So in essence, you gave them that money, and as long as you were alive, you got a payment. So it was pretty straightforward. Now, those aren't as popular anymore, and the biggest reason is a lot of people don't like the idea of giving up their money, and what if I only lived a few years and then, I didn't really get that much back and it's gone. And so the thing that you see more often today are what are called deferred annuities, and there's different types of those. But a deferred annuity, and the most basic form, if you take a fixed deferred annuity, is much like a bank CD. And the truth is that it gives you a set interest rate that you're going to get. You put your money in, there's no risk of losing any principal, and you have to keep it there a certain amount of time. That annuity might have a 5-year period, or a 10-year period, or a 12-year period, so there's different ones out there. There also are what are called fixed indexed annuities, which it's similar to the deferred annuity, but it has a feature where you don't know the interest. That interest is tied to some market, like the S&P 500, or something along those lines. And thirdly, what you have are what are called variable annuities. Now those are a little bit more complex, still issued by insurance companies, but instead of guaranteed principal within them, you actually have fluctuating market values because the money's invested in things similar to mutual funds. So you could have a more aggressive variable annuity or a more moderate variable annuity depending on what investments you picked within it. But the truth is that many of those products are sold maybe in the wrong way, where they're pushed versus being a part of an integrated plan. I think the key to annuities is that they're not either good or bad. It really depends on what your needs are and how they fit into your overall plan, Chris. And so when you sit down with a qualified specialist, they're going to look at your total income needs, your total portfolio needs, and figure out if it makes sense to integrate annuities into that program in your specific circumstances.
Again, fantastic information. It's It kind of hurts a little bit saying that given that you're my brother. Anyway, folks, if you want to visit with Dan, which I encourage you to do, if you live in the Lansing-Jackson area, you want to visit with him, just call the number on the screen. He'll waive his initial consultation fee. Again, I highly recommend that you call the number and set up a time to at least have him give you a double check on your retirement planning. All right, coming up, I don't want you to go away, because coming up, we are going to get a treat from my dog, Charlie.
Let's talk about retirement income. Studies show that a large number of retirees are worried about running out of money. Broken promises from banks, Wall Street, and the folks in Washington, D.C. may have you worried about your own retirement security.
A stable lifetime income is the secret behind a secure retirement. Your income should be based on math, not markets.
It's one more reason that now, more than ever, you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement. Traditionally, American retirees could look forward to 3 strong pillars of retirement income: a well-funded Social Security system, substantial corporate pensions with retiree health benefits, and a strong personal savings rate. Unfortunately, the booming population coming of retirement age has changed all that. Now, the responsibility for providing retirement income has largely shifted away from the government and employers to you. That's why we're offering a powerful, full-color special report, which explains the 10 most pressing variables you must consider when creating a sound retirement income strategy for the years ahead. You can get this informative report for only $4.95. Simply go to www.retiringwell.tv and click on Get Your Reports to order your copy today. But hurry, this is a limited time offer while supplies last. Let's talk about safe places for money that earn a decent return. You want your money to be safe. That makes a lot of sense in today's unsettled economy. But everywhere you look, you can't find a place that pays you a reasonable amount of interest. It's frustrating. That's where we come in.
Safe places for your money that earn a decent return are available if you know where to look. We evaluate them every day.
It's one more reason that now, more than ever, you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement.
Welcome back to Retiring Well, where it's our job to help you enjoy financial security in any economy. Well, we've come to that point in the show that I know a lot of the viewers enjoy. It's where my dog Charlie's a really smart Australian Shepherd. I've had him for about 2 years now. He is going to bring you something we like to call Charlie's Treat.
You hear it everywhere. The economy is tanking. So how are your investments doing? Here at the investment advisory firm of How Dewey, Cheatham & Laugh, we have been consistently returning 50% of your investment for over 5 years now. That's right, we can actually guarantee a 50% return of your investment. This is not a buy and sell strategy. These are instant returns. For example, you give us $1,000 today, and tomorrow we'll return back $500. Wait longer if you want. There are no tricks. This is just honest math. Here's a happy investor, Bob from Florida, who writes, "We had lost almost everything we owned in the stock market. It was such a relief to do business with How Dewey, Cheatham & Laugh. Your guarantee is the best in the industry." Thanks, Bob. Charlotte from Florida says, "A 50% return of our money was the best performance of our entire portfolio. I don't know what we would have done without you." You can be happy and assured just like Bob and Charlotte with our 50% return of investment guarantee. So don't delay. Pick up the phone and call. Each of our specially trained operators has had at least 17 minutes of intensive investment training, and they're standing by to take your money right now. Everyone here at How Dewey, Cheatham & Laugh is looking forward to working with you. The lines are busy. This is due to the overwhelming response. And if you can't wait, mail your cashier's check, payable to cash, to the address on your screen right now. Be sure to include a self-addressed stamped envelope so that we can return back to you your investment. Remember, we're the only ones guaranteeing a 50% return of your investment. And that's better than sinking your hard-earned money into a diversified fund that tracks with the Nasdaq's S&P 500 or the Dow Jones Industrials. We're at least going to give you back half.
All right, that was a bit humorous, but I'm sorry, Charlie, but I don't know. I think maybe you weren't paying attention on that too well. This guy was promising 50% of your money back, not 50% return on your money. You know, heck, I think it's pretty easy for someone to give you half your money back every time. I think if you try to do retirement income planning with that plan, you're in trouble. Okay. I want to change gears. I want to turn direction here just a little bit to wrap up the show. And I want to spend just a couple minutes talking about a recent IRA blow-up. You know, this week we actually have a story where we saved a potential blow-up. And, you know, this is one of those cases where, thank goodness, someone was watching the show here because they were getting ready to retire. They had a 401k and they were going to get a check from the 401k company and do a 60-day rollover. Now, you can do that, but here's the story. When they came to us, they thought, oh, I've heard about IRA problems on the show. They called us, they came in, and they told us what they were doing, and here's what we learned. This guy had $500,000 in his 401k, and he wanted to roll that to an IRA. Makes perfect sense. The problem is this. He already had the paperwork filled out to have his 401k company send him a check. Well, guess what? When a 401k company sends you your check, they withhold 20% for taxes. In this case, that would have been $100,000. He would have only had $400,000 left over to put into that IRA, and in order to complete the rollover, he would have had to come up with $100,000 out of his back pocket. Guess what? He didn't have $100,000 in his back pocket. Not many people do, and that could have caused some real big tax problems. So we were able to solve that all together by simply showing him, look, you can just transfer it directly to the IRA. That way there has to be no withholding. So lesson learned here is simply this. IRAs are complicated. 401ks can be complicated. Whenever you're retiring, you're trying to move money from 401ks to IRAs, make sure you're talking to someone that clearly understands the rules so that you don't get caught in an unintentional tax trap with that transaction. All right, that's our show this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Shocking study we covered. Talk to a retirement planning specialist and make sure you're doing what's right for you. Take care, everyone.
The preceding program was sponsored by Avery Wealth, Lower Mid-Michigan's retirement planning specialists.